Spanish series Money Heist has been one of the favorites for many ever since it came out, with audiences getting hooked from the first episode onwards. Time passed by, and the series is finally entering the endgame, with the 5th season Part 1 releasing on 3rd of September 2020, and the second part scheduled to release on 3rd of December 2022. We're all here poised by the question, how will the series end? Thus, today, we are here to discuss some of the possible endings of the series. Enjoy!
Get back!
Number 5. Gang and the Gold. One of the first teaser clips about the second part of the 5th season came directly from the Netflix global fan event TUDUM, and the main topic in it is the argument between the gang members over the disappearance of the professor, sending them all scrambling. One other focus point was the gold. What about it? Should they stick to the plan? At the beginning of the 5th season, we learned that half of the gold has been melted down, but with the ongoing battle, which we'll see in the second part of the season, it seems like they've not progressed much since the first half was melted. One alternative is to abandon everything and run for their lives, and on top of all this, the tension between Lisbon and Palermo is ever growing. Palermo was part of the original planning years ago, but his love for Berlin, together with his massive egotism, has clouded his judgment in leadership. This was also the reason for Tokyo usurping the command, with her being a force to be reckoned with, thus her absence will be felt in the group dynamic from this point onwards. Lisbon is the next in line to take the lead, with her being a former police inspector who switched sides and became part of the gang out of her love for the professor. He confided with her, revealing many of his backup plans. Without him, the gang is running blind, thus maybe Lisbon knows something the others don't. Maybe he has another contingency plan he always had in the past. Nevertheless, the intensifying power struggle between the gang members will be key, as they might explode as everything falls apart in the finale of the series. Our hopes lie in the fact that the gang will get the gold, because the triumphant scene in the second season of the show was such a relief, and all the suffering was worth it. Plus, if the gang doesn't succeed in this heist, the deaths of Tokyo, Nairobi, and the other gang members will be in vain.
Demostrar que tu maravilloso plan funciona.
Sí, pero también salvarles la vida a ustedes. Y eso lo vamos a lograr sacándolo de acá.
Number 4. Sierra might flip. It seems like, to some extent, the events are repeating themselves. Sierra, just like Lisbon in the past, has been on the professor's tail for a long time, and when the time came, she was rescued by him, together with her baby, by helping with the delivery guy. Thus, maybe this will be the turning point for her, and her attitude to change. After all, motherhood is the one thing we're talking about. That position of hers alone might be the main factor, even in a hostage position. On the other hand, Colonel Tamayo threw her under the bus, leaving all the blame on her. Yet another season for her to change sides. She has nowhere else to go. The professor was even kind enough to show her mercy, with her relinquishing her bullets to Marcel. Perhaps she'll see it herself that going with the gang from this point onwards is the best option for her to live a good life herself and her baby. Already, we've had a person in her situation, so if Lisbon can flip, so might Sierra. The two are not so different after all, both being in the same situation at one point in their lives, both pitted against the professor. We'll know for sure when she adopts a city name alias, with our hopes for the baby to be named Tokyo.
Marseille, blankets, Benjamin, clean water.
Number 3. RAFAEL to the rescue? We can all agree that the first part of the 5th season spent an unusually excessive amount of time dwelling on a tangential backstory about Berlin, indoctrinating his estranged son, Raphael, into the life of crime. And from what we're able to see by now, he will have to come into play somehow. If this is not the case, then what was the point of introducing him in the series, if he doesn't have a role to play in the final season of the show, right? Perhaps Raphael is part of Berlin's contingency plan, with him somehow involved in all of it, that is, if the heist went sour. The show might reflect a little bit more on Raphael, bringing him much closer to us and our feelings, in that he'll recognize the handiwork of his dad and uncle, the professor, only for him to come charging in like the cavalry when all seems lost. And like Sierra, we will know about him being part of the gang with the city alias name in place when the time comes. Until then, we can only speculate about him and the character he's supposed to be. Number 2. Next in line for love. It might sound absurd, but Money Heist is full of star-crossed lovers. The Spanish-produced series is romantic, reeking of Latin lovers and passionate tribulations, with the dramatic counterpoints being so addictive to all the action happening on the small screens. After all, one of the most favorite lines of Tokyo in the series is, "In the end, love is a good thing for everything to fall apart." And it's her love of Rio that propelled the third season and eventually got the gang back together. The Bank of Spain heist was a distraction to spring Rio out of Sierra's clutches and her ruthless interrogation methods. In the same vein, it was Professor's love for Lisbon that led to him orchestrating her elaborate prison break. What about Denver? After he fell in love with Stockholm, while she was a hostage, they even have a son named Cincinnati. Denver has fallen into a love triangle. His childhood friend Juan is trans and joined the gang as Manila, with Stockholm confessing her love for him at the end of the fourth season. Denver is confused, and one of the two, Manila or Stockholm, will get their heart broken. That is, if they survive. One other character that comes to mind is Palermo and his undying love for Berlin. Will he finally join his love in death? Many questions are still in the air, and the only way we'll get answers will be when the season finally drops on the 3rd of December this year.
I tried to, but I just can't do it.
Are you having nightmares?
Every time I close my eyes, I relive it all again.
Number 1. Who will survive? Money Heist has been one of the series that is not afraid to kill off their main character when the situation demands it. Thus, with 4.5 seasons behind us, we're still poised by the question, who will survive at the end? This has to be one of the most challenging questions out there when the series is at hand, because if the series was able to kill Nairobi and Tokyo, we can safely say that no one is safe. The first character who comes to mind is the Professor, who has been one of the favorites of many, even Lisbon's, with the gang members becoming martyrs for the revolution. Many other characters are on the list too. The series has been prone to going to many uncharted places, and executive producer and screenwriter Alex Pena made sure of that for almost all 5 seasons so far. Thus, we doubt that there will be any compunction of Alex going off the edge with the story and changing it completely. We're more than certain that the show will not have a happy ending, but we can never know. All of this can end badly for the gang, and this level of suspense is one of the key factors that Money Heist is one of the most bingeable series so far.
Permiso para disparar.
Dispara.
On a related note, tell us down in the comments below what excited you the most about the first part of the 5th season, and which of these endings would you like to see played out in the second part of it. And also don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon if you'd like to see more videos like this in the future. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
This is no longer a heist. We're taking down the system. This is a war.